What's good, y'all? Welcome to 40 Ounce Hoops. Barbershop Talks come right to you. I go by Cam, and
I
we
go by
got
B Love.
We got Taylor. We got Taylor Spade. We got This is Royalty. All three of them things. Address me however.
yes, indeed, yes, indeed. And man, it was a lot of it was about four games on the day, but it was one above all that really caught everybody's attention in the NBA world, and that was the Celtics and the Nets game. That was a 1 point game, buzzer beater, man. Like, were there any surprises? A buzzer beater by Jason Tatum, mind you. Were there any surprises from that game? Like, what are y'all takeaways from that?
Absolutely. There was one surprise that caught me initially and early on, and it was the confidence that Marcus Smart was shooting the three with.
Mm.
Ultimately he gets praised for being a not as annoying Patrick Beverly,
Mm.
but he doesn't necessarily get his respect when he does good things on the offensive end. And in this game, he was a source of reliable offensive output. So if you ask me what the surprise is, I think Marcus Smart, in particular, shooting the three was a highlight.
Mm.
Yeah.
Did you like his defense on Kyrie Irving today?
I think there's no way to go against it, man. We know that from a dribble standpoint, Kyrie has the deepest bag in basketball. So ultimately, all you have to do is ask Marcus Smart to stay in front of him. But if you ask me how Kyrie played, honestly, from his standpoint, I was also impressed. I felt like he needed a little bit more help. I felt like he needed some players on his team to tap into the dog mentality. But ultimately, the Nets didn't lose the game because of Kyrie.
Mm.
What you think about that, Brand? What was your takeaways from today's game with the Celtics and the Nets?
Man, so y'all were talking about how you need three, like the big three, right? For you to go further into the playoffs and continue on, right? And yeah, I agree with you, Tay. Marcus Smart was the one who stepped up. I thought if anything, it would be Horford, but
Hmm.
it was what Marcus get 20
Smart.
plus points. I didn't see that coming. He's more of in my eyes, like not a perimeter defender, but a defender, right, in itself. But that was surprising that he could get 20, in plus, so, to help out
Mhm.
crew. We knew Jalen, we knew Tatum, we knew they were going to get theirs. But Smart to defend, and I mean on both sides of the ball, both sides of the court. He was the one. He was the X factor, and I wouldn't say he led the way, but he did, steer. Let's say that he did
And he
steer.
did. And, as the resident statistician, ultimately, where his value was the most marketable today, he was 8 of 17. I'm going to be real big on focusing on what you did. That's 50%. We'll all take 50% for a game. But he was 4 of 9 from three. And
Oh,
if we're talking about Marcus Smart realistically, that would normally be 2 of 9. So, like, the fact that he was able to, like, knock down some of these threes
Every three
early with
matters.
confidence gave them momentum that they didn't have to look back from.
And can we make sure we shine that light, even though the Nets lost, that had nothing to do with Mr. Kyrie Irving balling out, especially in the
Let,
fourth quarter.
let me roll to the other side of the box score. All
Mhm.
right. Kyrie Irving in particular, we were really seeing Uncle Drew in full effect. He kind of got started early. Kyrie looked very motivated. And I'm still trying to figure out like what I think of his mentality at times. But like I watch his post-game interviews because he's like so highly scrutinized off the
mm,
court. And then it makes me remember that although I'm not the biggest fan of Kyrie, he's so talented on a basketball court, and now that it's the playoffs where it really matters, he's continuing to remind people of that.
mhm.
Yeah, and listen, even though Kyrie Irving hasn't gotten to play a full season, I know some people will argue, oh, like, you got real fresh legs. Every time this man has stepped on the court, just about in those big games, He's had some of his career highlights this year,
Mhm.
playoffs and regular season. He's been balling on a crazy efficient level, just putting together masterpieces, clinics. What people know he is capable of, and people kind of gave him a little too much credit for what he can do. But he's really been doing it, especially this season. He's been doing crazy 90% field goal, 50 point, 60
Mm.
point games, things like that. Just
60
crazy
point
things.
games on highly efficient shooting when he scored 60.
Yes,
Like, man,
indeed.
the guy only missed like 4 shots that game.
Yeah, and
So when we're looking at Kyrie today, just to give like some box score, because that's kind of what's important. He had 39. He was clearly like the head of the snake today. He was 12 of 20 from field goal. I respect that. He was 6 of 10 from three. I
hey,
definitely respect that. And he was 9 of 9 from the free throw line for a cool
Mm.
total of 39, 6 assists, and 4 steals. So that means he also was getting after it on the other end of the court too.
Kyrie did his part, but you know who didn't? Kevin Durant. He was thinking at first.
So I'm gonna ad
Mm.
lib you right there. 9 of 24 from the field,
Oh,
one of
Oh,
five from three. One of
one of
five.
five.
1 of 5.
that's not gonna get it
Ooh,
done, K. That's
that
not gonna get it.
man.
I know he's gonna recover, but that ain't gonna get it done, K. That ain't gonna. I ain't like that. I ain't like what I saw from KD. Those shots weren't falling, but I mean, those are. It's no such thing as a bad look for KD because he's
Mhm.
KD. But it just.
Mm,
What was it? Good defense or was it KD struggling?
KD's
he
struggling. I mean, it was slow. He started slow, like in the first quarter or even the first half. I know in the first quarter he maybe had like 3 points, and you know
quarter by
they need
quarter.
him. They need him. But yeah. What he end with? 20? What'd you say? 26?
23, but 9 of 24 from the field. So it was painful, man. If you he took 24 shots, he got 23 points. That doesn't equate.
That ain't gonna get it, especially in that net system where it's Kyrie and KD or bust, like pretty much, unless Ben Simmons comes back, So
Well, is that man's back healthy?
no, no. And shout out to Jason Tatum for getting the buzzer beater as well. And Ben Simmons has been training, so maybe he will come back.
So yeah, let's just take that as the opportunity. Unfortunately, um, well, honestly, the game was really good from an entertainment standpoint. So
Great back
before
and
we
forth.
like just throw the nets away, Kyrie Irving, you could tell at a certain point he was willing his team to victory. And when it really came down to it, he got no help. And if you look at the other side of the equation, you have Kyrie Irving that was essentially versus Tatum, Smart, and Brown. Now, when I was watching the game, because I did watch this one, um, I watched Jalen Brown on 3 different possessions apparently just hit the turbo button and run past the entire defense for a dunk or a layup. Like the Nets, for
Nets
how
are
good they're
bad.
supposed to be, they offered little resistance as a
They're bad
defensive
defensively,
team.
and that's really what happened for the buzzer beater with Tatum. Really, in a way, like you got Kyrie in the lane, and I mean, I guess even the best defensive teams, you kind of in the scramble, and it's like 2 seconds left. You don't even think somebody's gonna get a pass off in the cut, but I mean, that's a great like reflection of just we're not a good defensive team. Like Kyrie Irving's the only one in the paint for resistance, and that's not any
Mhm.
resistance at all.
And
So.
Kyrie took the gamble because he went for the steal.
Mhm.
When you watch the replay, he definitely tried to play the steal, and essentially after that didn't happen, it was an uncontested layup. Like I just look at some of the playoff games that we've grown up watching. I don't know if I've ever seen a game-winning layup.
Mm.
I remember one specifically, LeBron against the Pacers. That was in the
But that's
playoffs, right?
LeBron. Like he's supposed to,
Okay,
So
outside of
like
the
I
yeah.
got you, I got you.
Mhm.
But like in terms of a game of this magnitude, because when LeBron did it, it was probably like regular season. It's
Yeah.
something that you can forget, man. In the playoffs, to just
No, the LeBron's is in
yeah.
the playoffs.
Okay,
LeBron's is in the
okay.
playoffs. Yeah.
Say
Yeah.
less, say
Yeah,
less.
and then I remember one more. Chris Paul against the Spurs. Chris Paul on the Clippers against the Spurs. He hit it was a floater. Like, I don't know if we're counting. That's a layup, but like he had a nice little floater over. I don't remember who off the bank. It was pretty. I think it was in Game 7 against the Clippers, and that took the Spurs Spurs home. And I remember that because the Spurs were not like they were, but they were a great team, and the Clippers were a great team, and they were seeing each other in the first round, and it was one of those weird standing division rule things where they ended up going against each other in the first round. It was one of the best first round series I've ever seen in my life, actually. So that was a good one. That was a good one. It was like conference finals level. So yeah, I was talking about layup game winners. So that was that. And yeah, so one more question before we switch to Ice Trae the Gang. Has y'all's predictions changed at all from what we originally started with the Celtics and Nets?
Nope, not at all.
I think we basically all agreed Celtics in 6 is about what the consensus was.
About Celtics and
definitely not relaxing on that, especially the way that the Nets let this one go.
Yeah.
For your mentality, I mean, honestly, it was essentially Uncle Drew. I mean, he had Marcus Smart one-on-one. It wasn't an ISO situation, but it was clearly one-on-one basketball. He shifted that man. He got into his package one time. It didn't work. He stepped back, respaced, got into his package again, and he hit him with it. And that was the Kyrie Irving that we know. So at this point, because I feel like to really emerge from this series, honestly, we know what the Nets were kind of looking like on paper before the season started. But to get out of this series, if they could get out of this series, I thought they would have to do it in 7. And when you lose a game like this one, I don't think there's any way to spin it. Well, unless you're Jason Tatum, because he had the coldest spin move of the day. But I don't think there's any way to spin it to where you can rebound from this. That loss hurt. A 1-point loss under 1 second on a clock on a layup
takes the heart away.
I didn't realize. I thought the Nets having Ben Simmons is like, a treat and a little overkill, but they actually really do need Ben. They need Ben Simmons.
You know what else they need?
What?
Just to push it to 7. Steve Nash need to do this quick. Where's Blake Griffin? Where's Aldridge?
Okay.
We need them in there, right? That's what would help them if he wants to change the series, because it's still Celtics in 6.
I thought you were going to say feed Drummond.
Oh, well,
not quite. But I'm with Brand too, because I heard the commentators today at a certain point saying, like, on air, if I'm Steve Nash right now, what I would do is go to LaMarcus Aldridge. And they were saying that the Nets essentially needed to insert Aldridge to the game to get a little bit of post scoring to kind of balance the tempo.
Yeah, I honestly, I thought Aldridge was hurt or something. The way he hasn't been getting any minutes, but I guess it's just Steve Nash's system. They don't like it, but they need that extra scoring, like even off the bench. Give him a couple looks. Like he's still LA. He can give you 15.
Yeah,
probably.
They're too poor of a team to not like. I understand slowing the tempo down, but
I think it's more defensively and pick and roll. I think a lot of stuff is the pick and roll hedge defense. You don't want a big man that can't do anything at all. But I mean, LA's still good offensively.
I mean, but is Boston like that threatening of a 3-point shooting team? Like, I'm not saying leave people open, but if I'm looking at like Tatum, Brown, Smart, Horford can knock down a 3. Dice can knock down a 3. Go ahead. Who, Brand?
You said Pritchard, right? That's
Pritchard, yeah. Pritchard. But like I'm looking at like ultimately like the scoring force of Boston. Tatum, Brown, and Smart when he's moving and doing his thing. They're not threatening enough for me to have to respect Marcus Smart out shooting me out of the series. So I think they're going to have to find a way to like not overcommit to the perimeter, but make sure that they run rhythm shooters off of rhythm shots because they were getting some free ones today.
Agree, man. We'll see. So that was game 1. Celtics Nets. Celtics take it at home, and we'll see what happens in game 2. What's that? Tuesday, Wednesday?
We'll pick it up there. But next we moving along to Ice
Trae, who was ice cold.
Luigi.
Ice cold, man. He had what, 8 points? 8 points.
Luigi.
8 points on 1 of 12 shooting.
That
One
was
One of
of
12. It
12
was bad.
shooting.
It
it
was
was
bad.
cold as ice
So
long ago, baby, baby.
hey, was
Oh
that?
man, was that Fire and Ice, Brand?
Yeah, Rick James.
Our younger
Fire and
generation is not. It's
desire.
funny because me and my girl was in the hot tub today listening to that song,
Oh,
you know,
word, look at
just to
that.
make sure. No cap. But the younger generation, they gonna struggle with that one. But that was a good
Yeah.
plug in.
So was that more the Miami Heat defense or was it Trae Young tripping?
Oh man, it was everything. So, you know, I was with the family. We supposed to have brunch, having good times.
Because you're in
It,
Atlanta.
yeah, you know, as a resident of Atlanta, like I have a younger nephew, essentially by marriage, that has maybe some pro caliber potential. But when we were watching the game, he was just like, "Oh, come on!" Like watching his reactions let me know that at a certain point the Hawks didn't play defense at all. Like it became a barrage. Like it was basically death by firing squad out there today because the Heat for the first half shot the three over 50%. I think they were 9 of 16 in the first half.
Led
Um,
by
Duncan
Duncan
Robinson, bro.
Robinson.
And if he don't get a Dunkin' Donuts commercial real soon,
Oh
I'm gonna be
yeah.
disappointed in him.
Him and David Robinson should do one together. The
Yeah.
Like all they
Robinsons.
gotta do is like put a commercial with him shooting threes through a donut, and that'll
Oh
sell,
yeah.
man.
Yeah,
The
that
guy is
actually
For
is true.
real.
bugging.
For
That's an
real.
ad walking. That is an ad walking. I
Walking.
like that idea. Yeah, hey, you need to trade me. Hey, they're gonna steal that. You better get your
Yeah, yeah. You
check,
need
get
Hey
to
your
get
man,
bread.
hey, if he get paid,
copywritten.
I'm gonna tell him just like the church. I just need 10%.
Yeah.
Hey, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's
So
fair.
Trae Young was struggling, but I mean, if anybody, Trae Young's one of the clutchest players I've seen in recent times. I think he'll be just fine. I think he'll find his spots. I'm not saying I believe in the Hawks, but I mean,
No. To answer your question, was it just Trae or was it Miami's defense? It was Miami's defense. Miami's defense is like that. You got
That they're
PJ
like
Tucker,
that.
you
Yeah.
got Bam, you got you got some dogs out there, man. You got Jimmy. I mean, so it's them. It's the
look,
defense.
I mean, I'm sure y'all watching heard me talk about, I think it was the first episode or it was the second episode, how important, in my opinion, a center's pick and roll
Hedge
defense is.
defense. Yeah.
Hedge defense is. And when you have Bam Adebayo is the best at that hedge defense and recovery. He can step up. Bam and Giannis I really like as hedge defenders. I think they're my favorite defenders because they can switch, and maybe a little Michael Bridges, but he can't really protect the rim that much. But
Right, because he's a
those
perimeter defender.
exactly,
He
but
has to go in the Marcus Smart category,
exactly.
unfortunately.
Well, Marcus Smart, he could get some sneaky blocks sometimes.
Okay.
Marcus actually is nice like the end Draymond, but Bam Adebayo being at the helm of those as the hedge defender, and especially Trae Young, who loves using. We know Trae Young will kill you on pick and roll all game. Keep
Yeah.
using pick and roll. That's all he has you in. Like, yes, he does cook people, but it's not really ISO. It's like, let me get a screen. Like everybody like watching, y'all know how tough it is when you getting screened all game. Look, we playing pickup. What you say? Be like, nah, he's setting screens. Y'all got to switch. That's the most
Mm-hmm.
frustrating thing. He's like,
Help,
nah,
help.
Yeah,
right,
help.
help.
Show.
Show,
Show.
that's it. Show.
Exactly.
Show.
Exactly.
Ain't
Yeah,
nothing worse than
And,
getting
that's a
hit with
big
and
one.
they're
screens all
so
game.
long. Like the defense for Miami is just so long. So
Mhm.
there's no way around it. There's no way around it. And
Switch everything.
So you look at Miami and on paper, like let's just look at them on paper because like we all play 2K. So let's just give a little perspective about how valuable defense is.
Mhm.
Kyle Lowry is a plus defender. PJ Tucker is a plus defender.
Mhm.
Jimmy Butler is a plus defender.
Yeah.
Bam Adebayo, show, hedge, retreat, plus defender. And if Victor Oladipo was to ever be healthy and make an impact in this series, he
or
would be
Morris.
no worse than a plus defender.
Yeah.
So you look at the way that the Hawks, like, I understand they didn't have Clint Capella, but
Mm-hmm.
what I saw to the eye test, Clint Capella can't save that.
Nah, I'm looking at the stats as well right now, and Yeah, it's straight up defense. I'm seeing all these steals, man. It's a 3, 2, 1,
But it
2,
was it was also
2,
the way
1.
that the game felt. I felt like Jimmy Butler was out there shooting Hurts, Tom Brady, let's go commercial
Yeah.
because he was always hollering at somebody. Like
Mm.
he's taking you to the rim for and ones. Like at there didn't seem like a single 3-minute stretch where the Hawks had control of the game. They just lost it from beginning to end.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, do you think it's also like their legs? Like they just got done beating, Hornets and Cleveland, and then now you got to go on the road to, to Miami. So
And I'm
like
gonna say
that.
no. And I'm gonna use this as a transition point. At the end of the game tonight, Giannis said, "Hey, the Greek Freak said it's tough that we haven't played basketball in 8 or 9 days. So sure, we didn't play the best basketball today, but it was good enough to win." So I think that when you come from that type of situation, I don't know if you can for how disjointed the Hawks looked. I don't think that lack of continuity can be the excuse because you had teams that didn't play longer. Let's not forget that they bust the Hornets' ass by 30 in the
Right.
playing
I mean,
game.
I've in my experience, just like hooping growing up, everything, going to the rec centers, all of that. It's always I feel better the more I play. Like I'm granted, it's not like a full professional NBA game, but I just in my experience, I feel better like when you play more. LeBron said something similar. If y'all want to take my word, like LeBron said something similar as well. He said, I feel better on the second day of a back to back. That's what he said.
Mhm.
Things like that. Like, I mean, I don't think that that's an excuse. I think it's more annoying when you've been out too long because you don't got the tendency. You feel sluggish. You got to get your
Yeah,
rhythm
you
back more
fall
so
you
than
fall out of rhythm. Like your
yeah,
first game turns into a glorified scrimmage. So
yeah,
it's like one thing to be able to lock down when it really matters, but like sometimes you can't even tap into that dog mentality because you've been so disconnected from the game.
mm,
Yeah, I mean, you do have a point with that as well because, um, well, Memphis was just sitting there and then they got beat, right? But the
yeah,
other two teams, the Suns, they won. They were
exactly.
sitting out for a whole week. Miami, they
Fair
won. They
point.
were
I
sitting out a
mean,
week.
Suns Pelicans is
Milwaukee.
only different. That's the only difference because they are the Phoenix Suns going against the AFC. Like they can catch their rhythm in the game. And Chris Paul is just amazing. Like I want to give
Oh,
Chris Paul his flowers real quick just for being one of the best point guards all time. Top
Do you
what
think?
four, top four, top five point guard all time
yeah,
in Chris
hundred
Paul
percent.
and Asian great. So
Mm-hmm.
he's
All right,
like,
so let's kind of transition into the Pelicans and Suns then
mhm,
with the Chris Paul ode. Give me 1 second, I'm about to get you the stats. Tonight, man, he
Chris Paul,
wasn't
man.
lacking on any level. Chris Paul, 30 points,
Whew.
an assist, 7 rebounds on 12 of 16 shooting. That's fucking phenomenal from a
Chris
veteran
Paul.
point guard.
Chris Paul is
Have his
aging like 6 foot LeBron. Honestly, like honestly, Chris Paul is literally a 6 foot LeBron. Like if LeBron was 6 feet right now, that would be Chris Paul.
and I was watching that game and thank you Suns for covering. I needed them to win by more than 10. They won by 11. Thank you Suns. You saved my day because I had the Celtics giving up 4. Luckily they won. Proud of them, but that's not good for my money. But yeah, but yes, Chris Paul, 15 points in the fourth, maybe more. But last I
Clutch.
saw when
Stat.
I was watching
The
it,
stat.
15 points in the fourth. Like when you were talking about clutch,
Yeah.
yeah, it's Paul or it's Chris Paul. It's
He's
Chris Paul.
always been that.
Yeah, I can't remember
He
the last time
he's
Chris Paul choked the money, man. I
he's on the
honestly,
shorter
Man,
side of height, but when it comes into standing up to the moment, he's always there when it's time to rise.
like,
If he's healthy.
yeah,
I
that's
hate
the
I
injuries is
hate
the
it. I
only
hate it
thing
to
that's
have to
ever
do
held
that
him
with him.
back. Like, really.
If he's healthy. If he's
Like Chris
healthy.
Paul is amazing, man. Like we gonna have to do another topic on just like where he ranks at all time and all time point guards because he's amazing. Like it's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, this game between the Suns tonight was a little disengaging.
yeah,
It,
yeah.
it, it it really didn't have any suspense to it.
Nah,
Um, Chris
I
Paul
mean,
had a great game.
yeah.
And ultimately, I won't say Devin Booker had a good game. It was kind of pedestrian for what his standard is at this point. 25 points, 8 of
Oh yeah.
19
Okay.
is not really mentionable, like on a
Like
Yeah.
high level.
42%, 39, 42%.
That's probably around rough estimate 42. I hope they really don't like fact check us on that,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
I'll say
right. I mean,
rough
my math
estimate
was terrible.
42.
I
Um,
mean, the thing is with
oh, my bad. I kind of looked over DeAndre Ayton, who
That's
I
my
honestly
boy.
feel like is always overshadowed.
yeah,
And I
That's my
think
boy.
it becomes the
like him.
rebounding. But tonight he had 21 points and
Oh,
9
solid.
rebounds on 10 to 15 shooting. So
That's
like
solid.
you
That's
really
good.
can't
That's
ask for any
good.
more than that from
That's
him.
solid.
So sure we didn't like prep for this, but like what about it? What about Aiton at times makes him like sneakily valuable for the Suns? Like, because when you're a top contending team, like how can you be a sneaky contribution?
Man, I feel like DeAndre Ayton is a beneficiary of Chris Paul, honestly, because Chris Paul, when has he ever had a big man not looking good? If you just do your job, you're gonna look good in the Chris Paul system. Like that's honestly what I think. I haven't seen much from DeAndre Ayton that sets him apart. He's not an all-star, he's not an all NBA center. So I mean,
Just
so
out of
like,
curiosity, I just want to challenge you versus the stats.
yeah.
What do you think he averaged on the season? Like when you think of DeAndre
Ooh.
Ayton, if you think of averages, what do you think he gives you?
9 or 10 rebounds and
No, no, no.
16,
Oh,
16, 17 points.
oh, rebounds. Okay, I'm gonna go with 14 points, 13 rebounds.
Kyrie was closer.
Damn.
17.2 points, 10.2 rebounds. So he was actually down there spot on.
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah. But it's like it's you when you're a big man, you could get like those blind double doubles. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really like the intangibles for me when you're a big man, like the Bam Adebayos of the world, the Giannis, even Giannis is a big man in my eyes. The Joels, the Jokic's. Aiden isn't an all-star and he's not an all NBA center. So he's as good as a non-all-star, non-all NBA center is, I guess. Like he's not bad, but he's not an all NBA center. He's not an all-star center. So I mean,
Mm.
And man, to be like stuck in no man's land like that though is like a
yeah,
non-glorified
like I mean,
place.
he's good.
I mean, he's like the fourth best player on their team, though.
That's about how it works, Brand. And he's not the fourth, but he's definitely the third at best. Because
Exactly.
you're
So it's
definitely
like,
taking CP3, you're definitely taking Book. And I think on a nightly basis, from a team standpoint, Mikal Bridges is more valuable
Yeah,
for
yeah,
flexibility.
100%.
exactly.
100%. I think DeAndre Ayton does what he's supposed to do as a big man, like probably like nothing more. So far, he's still young though. I mean, he
Yeah,
plays his role well on a championship level team. So
yeah.
I mean,
All right, fellas. Well, we done ran through it.
yeah.
Miami clapped the Hawks.
One
That's
more question.
dead.
One more question. Since we got like what Zoom call, it's not even 40 minutes yet. So I want to ask something real quick. Where was DeAndre Ayton in this draft, and who was taking? So the Suns took DeAndre Ayton over Luca.
N-
Did they?
No, no. I
But
thought
but
Aiden
you know,
was the kid.
honestly, I try not to get too
Trey.
far into that because it's really hard to know what somebody can do at a professional standpoint when you're taking a chance on a kid. Because honestly, they're still kids.
Yeah.
And some people learn professionalism and they become great superstars. Some people are just flat out better than you. And from a standpoint of what that is, Jalen Green of Houston
Oh yeah.
is like a huge wild card because he may just be flat out better than you. And if he learns to work at a professional level, the guy's going to be a problem for
Jalen
years to
Green gives
come.
me J.R. Smith vibes.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, yeah,
I
and
agree.
yeah, I think he's gonna have like a J.R. Smith type career, which is just fine. He's gonna explosive, loud buckets, about what 19 to 20 a game, maybe more in today's NBA. But that was J.R. Smith gave you in his
But
prime
he'll
too.
have like a loud
A
28.
loud,
I feel
loud,
you.
like
It's
yeah, those nights where
loud.
it's like yeah, exactly. 2K, one of the best 2K players, you know, and,
28.
and, and
Yo, no,
just
no doubt.
just checking. So DeAndre went number one, Marvin Bagley, then Luca, Jaren Jackson, Trae Young, Mo Bamba. You know,
Yo,
so
that
it's
draft is a little bit more stacked. Call out
Oh,
those
Aiden
five
did come out with
again.
Luca and Trey. Oh, okay.
yeah, it was
Oh.
Aiden, Bagley, Doncic. Okay, it's 10 minutes. Okay, perfect.
So
Yeah, so
Aiden was the first pick.
yeah,
Yeah, out of
Aiden was the
Arizona,
first
he
pick.
was
Wow.
icy. out of Arizona. Man,
Okay.
he was looking good out there. He was looking good. I'm surprised they didn't really make it to the final four.
You know what?
Well, I know for
That
sure the
yeah.
championship. They didn't go.
That's why I'm low on him because he was the first pick over Luka Doncic, Trae Young, even Colin Sexton, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Michael Bridges was in here. You know, like who Miles Bridges was
I
in here.
guess we
Michael
could give
Porter
him an
Jr.
honorable spotlight because, like, I'm not the most familiar with his game, but I know he's like largely respected. And I know you watch like a lot of these games a little bit more closely, Kyrie. What's your opinion on SGA?
Oh, SGA is not. You know what I like about SGA's game? He has the Luca. I'm at my own pace. There's nothing you could do. The D'Lo. I'm at my own pace. There's nothing you could do about it. We gonna get to
The
this spot. I'm gonna
Anthony
take my
Edwards, I'm
time.
my own nigga.
Yeah, well, yeah. So like he's Shea Gilgeous, you're not gonna force him to like play at your pace at all. You're gonna slow it down. He's gonna do what you got to do. And he's young. I think he's gonna be a perennial all-star and he's gonna have a great career, especially with a team like that where you own the future in the NBA draft. Like Shea is the one guy top, and then everything else, you get 5 picks per draft. That's all in the first round, damn near as the Thunder. You may even have Bronny and
Hey,
LeBron on your team.
we got DMX on alert on this one, but does he got that aroo, aroo, rah?
That
Do he got that
dog, he got
dog in
look,
him?
he got that
We got
dog
it.
in him.
He
He
got
got
it.
that
You
dog in
say
him.
it. All right,
He
so
got
you
that
on
dog
record?
in
He
him,
got that
man.
dog in him, and we're gonna have to patent that one. We're gonna come up with some branding, but we're gonna have to talk about some aroo, aroo, because we need to know if you got that dog in you.
So and
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
coming up, man, we got I think this is all tomorrow, I believe so, right? The let's check real quick what's tomorrow
Yeah.
since we
What's
got
the
a little
tomorrow?
extra time. Let's see what games are tomorrow because I don't know what's skipping
Hey
2 days.
man, this is the best time of the year, man. 4 basketball games a day on the
Facts.
weekend is a dream. Like
War,
I woke up and then 20 minutes later, games were on. It
it's
was
my
Mm.
great.
favorite. It's the most
Great.
wonderful
It's the
time.
most.
For almost 2 months too, right?
Hell
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Warriors, Nuggets, Jazz, Mavericks, Raptors, Sixers. So just predictions real quick for that.
Mm.
All right, yeah, let's take them. Hold on. I'm gonna pull that up just so I
Okay.
know what I'm looking at
Uh,
right behind you with that,
Okay. So let me
and
see. I
then we'll
got
go from
the
there. Call them
Sixers
out.
clear. Sixers clear. Jazz. I mean, if
Are
it's
you
a
looking
split,
at home away, or are you just like going off of your base info?
I know it's two, two, two. Like you get two
Of
games,
course, of
right?
course.
So it's no back and forth. Even though oh yeah, the Mavericks were ahead of the Jazz. Okay, so yeah. So
Yes,
you
two
got
two
I got
one one one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I got the Sixers clear, like take the point spread on that, like Sixers clear. Jazz Mavericks, I wouldn't take the points, but I do think the Jazz gonna have like win a close one.
Luca playing?
Uh huh?
Luca coming back?
No,
There's
not for
been no determination on that.
no,
Mm.
not for game two. So I mean, and then the Nuggets Warriors, that's gonna be a good one. But as a homer, I do have the Warriors again. Luca looked tired trying to guard us. So there you go. That's what I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think that even at their healthiest, I don't think that Dallas is good enough to be Golden State.
I think no, not Golden State,
You
but
mean
I mean, like,
you mean Denver?
oh
You mean Denver?
my bad,
Mhm.
Denver.
Mhm.
Well, let me just like scratch all that because one of the things that kind of went under the radar is how well Jordan Poole played.
Oh my goodness. Jordan Poole is nice. Pool
And
party.
pool party. I like that
pool
one.
party.
But
Smash Brothers and pool
we
party.
Yeah.
a Splash Brothers and pool party is a good theme right there, right? But
Mm.
we didn't give Jordan Poole a lot of credit, and I jumped on the app today, and one of the first stories was basically saying, does Steve Kerr reinsert Steph Curry, or does he ride what clearly worked? And then I didn't know Jordan Poole did what he did, but end of the night, a little basketball fatigue for all day basketball. But I want to make sure that that young guy doesn't go uncelebrated because he's here. And I think it's really interesting that I don't think he's better than a Clay Thompson, but he's almost in a position to unseat Clay Thompson because ultimately, with like this Splash Brothers type of position and role, we know you're going to be gunning, but Clay caught
Hey,
on a
that
little.
is that is dangerous. You know why? Because shooters, you can stay in the league for a long time. So if you telling me Clay can transition to just a spot up shooter, and we got Jordan Poole and Steph Curry, those guys go age like wine, and Jordan Poole is young. Oh, that's scary. That's
At that
still
point,
scary.
then you have to slide Clay to the three. But I'm with you on that, Kyrie, because let's talk like we don't even have to talk about Clay. We all know that he's a person that can score 30 points without ever dribbling the basketball. And that will always be valuable. And I think if you slide Clay down and maybe phase Wiggins into off the bench, you maximize your Jordan Poole, which has the most upside because
Mhm.
Clay don't need to have the ball.
Mhm.
We know
I
Chef.
think you're right. Like I think so the Warriors in general, like we could all play together. We have such a deep team in this game, perfect mix of young and old guys. I
I
know
like
some
I
people
like to hear the we,
the
the
we,
we.
man.
You
The
know, the
we.
way I
Yeah, I
talk
heard
about the
that. Yeah.
Lakers,
It's
the we.
the
Yeah.
we, man. But like I feel like the only X factor like in the coming seasons outside of like health, I think Draymond may end up regressing just a little bit. He may be like the odd man now. But outside of that, Steph, I love how he can look as he gets older. He's the best shooter all time. That ain't gonna go nowhere. And especially in the 20s, the 2020s of technology, he gonna be fine. The Clay,
Yeah.
he's a shooter that ain't gonna go out of style. Jordan Poole, super young. As long as the money right, we good. You know, as long as they keep paying that luxury tax to re-sign these guys, we all right.
I don't even know if y'all are in the luxury tax. Are y'all in the luxury tax?
Close to it. I think we close to it.
I
I
mean,
think
but
we,
shit,
hey,
sometimes,
we
man,
will be when we
hey,
re-sign Jordan Poole.
I know
Mhm.
when as a big Lakers fan, when we needed to get one done, we definitely double paid Lamar Odom's entire salary.
Oh,
Man, I
So
don't even.
sometimes you got to do
It's
it
a whole nother topic, but I don't even
oh,
like the fact that it is like a limit
because
to how
it's
much these
terrible.
these
Because that
billionaires
just
could pay.
means that
Like
the
you could
rich
pay.
teams can pay to win.
They
It's
got the
pay to
nerve,
win is what it turns
and they
yeah.
got
into.
the nerve
Yeah.
to be cheap with it too. When just like pay that money, that don't mean nothing. You these couple extra
Right.
million. Now I see why guys just get the check because it's like y'all billionaires. Y'all created
Yeah.
goddamn.
I mean, and ultimately, man, if you're not a top 30 player, you're not in the like, of course you want
Yeah.
to win a
Right. Right.
ring. That's what you're in it for. But if you're not a top 30 player, you're not signing up every year to chase a ring. You're signing up every year to be self-glorified.
Yeah, man.
Mm.
My pops just
Get your
went to Miami.
money.
Man,
Get the
hey, my
money.
pops just went to Miami last week, right? And the Lakers had just lost their season. Guess who he saw in Miami a couple days after? Why everybody want to talk about the Lakers?
Shit,
He
I
saw
would think it was Anthony Street Clothes Davis in street clothes in the street.
Day to
I
day
would think
Davis.
Day to day,
day to day
Davis.
Day
Davis.
Davis.
Day to day, Davis.
That's the funny.
Damn.
But my dad, but before we signed out, my dad saw Trevor Ariza in Miami. So
Oh.
while everybody want to talk about the Lakers is Lakers, at end of the day, that man went to Miami and is
Hey,
cooling out with a lady. You know what I'm saying? So
let
Oh,
me.
okay. All
I,
right,
I'm gonna give.
Trevor.
I'm gonna give you one though. Like as a retro Lakers
you got a
fan,
minute 30.
cool. When we did it, Trevor Ariza shot above 30% from three. And honestly, him and Lamar Odom did the same thing that year when we had Kobe and Pau Gasol.
And that's what people
Kobe
will
like
remember. And
was
that's what people will remember when they
alpha.
said we need Trevor Ariza. People think
Yeah.
it was
Kobe
2010.
was alpha and Powell was definitely a beta. And you could tell that they understood the dynamic. Kobe would be like, get your ass in the post. And then
Yeah.
Powell would actually do it. And then
Hmm.
we actually had enough wing play basically between Odom and Ariza to get it done. Hey, I'm not always gonna talk to y'all about Lakers, but because
Nah,
honestly, shit,
that's a
I don't
topic.
want to say anything. We're not even talking about them anymore this year on cam right now. I'm saying that Lakers is deceased. We're
That's
not
a future
talking
topic.
about
Lakers
them.
is future topic. Brown, I'm gonna give you the floor. One more floor. You got about 30 seconds. Go ahead. Any last words?
Last words. Yeah. Dallas may go ahead and get the upset. I'm gonna say that tomorrow. You guys
Ooh.
take the points if you want to bet. Take the points. They may get the upset. They only lost because they missed their free throws. If you really look at their free throw
Mm.
percentage compared to Utah, you add that up. That's Dallas.
This has been 40 ounce hoops, y'all. My name is Kane. That's B Love, and that's Tay Spade, and we out of here, y'all.
This is
All right.
royalty.
Yes, sir.